Also, I'm using my, I'll show you guys, Lysol can as a makeshift tripod. So this is my first very real, in real life stream. Doing a little cooking show for you guys. I'm making pasta with pesto and bacon. So anyways, I'm really into cooking, as I am with gaming, but I'm usually someone who gathers everything when I cook, but because pasta water takes a while to boil, I'm gonna start off with just filling my pot with water, and I'm gonna shift the angle of my phone so you can all see. Nice. And I'm gonna be using this makeshift tripod here and there, moving it around the kitchen. But water takes a while to boil, so I'm gonna sear the bacon. I also have some interesting things to talk about, the games I play and the books I read, as it's probably gonna take like 15 minutes to boil. I have a lid, speeds it up. A little cooking hack: add your salt water to the pasta, and you wanna use plenty of salt water. Add it towards the end as the water starts boiling, because actually the boiling point of salt water is slightly higher than desalinated water. So I'm gonna get this going, and I'm gonna set a timer for about 15, just so I can remind myself to check the water. Usually it takes about 15 minutes, sometimes a little less with the lid. So that's all set and ready, and I'm gonna gather the rest of my ingredients now. I'm looking for bacon and pesto. I have kind of a cluttered fridge here. So, yeah. Got some roasted tomatoes from the other day, which I might add as a topping. And I have some bananas that should get chopped at this point. Got some nice bacon, not thick sliced, but I'm cutting it up anyways. And it's gonna add a nice crispiness to the pasta with the pesto. And I think it's gonna be a good combination. And I'm gonna chop that up and get that going too, because it does take some time to cook down and get crispy. Sounds good, Donnie. See you in a bit. Anyways, yeah, got some bacon. I think I have like 4 slices. I'm gonna split these apart, and I'm gonna get my cutting board and chop it up into pieces. Matter of fact, I'll get the other ingredients as well. So I got some, that's the stove, as you can obviously see, water is boiling. So I got fusilli. Fusilli pairs really nicely with pesto. Fusilli and farfalle, I think pair really well with pesto, because certain pastas go better with certain sauces. And this is, it's a pretty good pasta from Whole Foods. Bronze cut, and that does matter. You do want to get your pasta bronze cut, preferably. Anyway, water's boiling. I'm gonna set that aside over there so I could just, pour it in when it's ready to go into the pot. And I'm gonna cut up my bacon. Oh, and I'm gonna get the pesto as well, which should be somewhere here in the fridge, if I can find it. Oh, I found it. Blackberries. Gotham Greens pesto. I tried it a couple times before, and it's a really good pesto. It has pine nuts, fresh basil. Of course, it's not fresh at this point, but it's very good. And I use about one of these per package of pasta. So with half a pack, and I'm doing half a pack of pasta. I'm gonna use the second half. I made some of this earlier last week, except I didn't do bacon, but I want to use this bacon at this point. I don't, in general, like, I hate throwing away food, and I try to utilize things like, you know, if it's time for me to, you know, use the bacon and it only has a couple more days of the shelf life left, I'll use it in like a pasta as a topping. And I want these bacon bits not too small. I still want it to be like, you know, I'm not looking for tiny crispy bacon bits in this dish. I'm just looking for something that's, and this isn't a carbonara, but something that's carbonara-esque, where I still have strips, chunks that I could still enjoy, you know, the mouthfeel of. I'm gonna kind of split them apart. Actually, I'm not gonna split them apart. I don't need to do that. They're gonna start rendering away in the pan, and as soon as I get this going. So, and I really, actually, I have hand towels. I try not to waste too many paper towels as I'm cooking, so I have just spare hand towels lying around that I also use if I'm cooking with cast iron, and you really can't touch cast iron when it's hot. Well, you shouldn't touch anything when it's hot, but cast iron handles get extremely hot, and you always want either something like this rubber end, something that might come with a cast iron, or you want a kitchen towel to grab the handle by. All right, I'm gonna get the fire going, and I want like a medium-ish low heat. And little trick with bacon, you can add a little bit of water ahead of time, and it will prevent the bacon from burning too early, because you want, and you only need like a tablespoon or so, you want the, and I'm gonna shift this to the stove because the remainder of what I'm doing will all be on the stove. That's funny, Donnie. Yeah. This isn't a great angle. I wish I could. Twitch doesn't let me flip my phone, or does it? It flips like this, but actually I'm gonna, whoops, that's me holding the phone. I do think it's only one way and it's sideways, but let me see if I can get this going like an overhead view. I don't want to get too creative and break my phone, and it is close to the flame. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna flip my phone back to, I'm struggling with this here. Flip it back like this, and I'm gonna do this. You won't see inside for now, but that's okay. It's, I'll kind of bring the phone up to the pan here and there to show you what's happening. So I'm just tossing the bacon in. And Donnie, by the way, is it sideways when because I put the phone up right and my chat is sideways, but I would hope that the camera is like at a correct angle. I don't know if you're there right now, but if you could let me know in the chat if the view is fine or if it's kind of tilted, that'd be great. I'm gonna actually carefully wash my hands after baking. I do try and remind myself to always wash my hands after stuff like bacon, chicken, or beef. The pan's fine. The heat will kill any bacteria, but because it's raw meat, I try to be mindful of that. And I'm gonna get a spatula just to mix this around. And I'll show an overhead. Hold on, I wanna pull up the chat. That's what I thought, I'm sideways. I'm gonna flip it here. I'm gonna hold it upright and just kind of hover it and show you. So I'm just letting this cook down. The lid is hot, so I'm gonna lift up very quickly. I think my timing is about right, so I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little bit to get it going. And just kind of here and there, stir it around. And what I do, yeah, I'm holding the phone kind of in the correct orientation. What I do is sometimes I'll delay putting the pasta in the pot because I know the pasta cooks, and do follow the package instructions because you don't want your pasta to be soggy. So what I do, I'll do like 9 minutes actually in boiling water, and I'll finish the last couple minutes with the sauce. And cooking pasta with sauce is another cooking hack. It's actually what they do in Italy all the time. They finish cooking it with a little bit of pasta water and whatever sauce you're using, and the sauce kind of binds to the pasta that way. Anyways, I don't need to be stirring this continuously. While that's going, I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna flip my phone so you can see me. I'm gonna talk about some of the games I play and the books I read. So I have some stuff here as well, just to kind of keep you guys, and I think it's only you down here right now, but maybe someone else will watch this down the line. So I'll start with the games first, because after all, so many people on Twitch do game, and I actually have more to talk about as far as the books go. And I am multitasking as I cook, but I do a lot of cooking and multitasking. Been cooking for a while. So first game, whoops, phone fell. First game, Horizon Zero Dawn. Phenomenal game. And a lot of people on Twitch do stream themselves playing Horizon Zero Dawn. It's, I think not by far, because my second favorite game, which I have here, Kingdom Hearts, I just ordered the pretty much the full set. So it has all the main games 1, 2, and 3, 1 and 2, and all the side games here. Whoops, no, this is 3, and this is the story so far. So a bunch of games, and this is probably now Kingdom Hearts my second favorite game, but Horizon Zero Dawn is my first favorite game. And Ace Combat. I've really been into flight simulators recently, and you can see I've done a couple airline commander streams on my channel. But Ace Combat is really nice. The graphics are stunning, the physics are solid, and it's just an all-around fun game to play, shoot down some enemies. And you really have to be strategic. You can't always use missiles, you sometimes have to gun them down. You have to cooperate with your squad. You have to know when to retreat, when to hit an enemy's 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That stuff matters. But yeah, so and I play a bunch more games. I play on the Switch as well. Zelda is awesome. I actually have a flight simulator game for the Switch as well. Not too much action happening with the bacon yet, but I'll flip the view. It's starting to cook down a little bit. I'm just gonna set this aside. Let's see. I have some books. I'll talk about one book now, but maybe as I eat, I'll talk about the other couple books. Gonna turn down the heat on the bacon because I don't want it to burn too quickly, and I'll show you guys some of this bacon action right here. So the fat's starting to kind of render out, and that's what you want. And it's probably not going to brown yet. It's going to start browning in a couple minutes or so. You probably want this going actually for like 5 more minutes. If the water starts boiling, I'll just turn it down to low. Actually, no. The pasta, I still have to cook the pasta for 10 minutes. So, yeah, I get very technical about cooking just because that's kind of the inner scientist in me. But it helps to be, cooking is both a science and an art. In fact, I'm gonna put on my science and cooking apron. If I can find it, yeah, it's right here. If I do more cooking streams, and I think I will, I'll wear this apron probably all the time. So I live in Boston, really close to Harvard University, and Harvard does the science and cooking lectures, and I think they still do them once every fall. it's actually a real course, and it's a course for their students, but they also have guest lectures open to the public. And with the guest lectures, a famous chef from somewhere, either in the US or around the world, comes in and hosts a cooking class. Not a cooking class, it's not a cooking class in the traditional sense, a lecture about some sort of scientific technique about how heat works or how sugar blends with other ingredients. And so my mother and I both at one point used to go to these lectures, and she won this at a apron toss. So at the end of the class, people who would answer questions correctly to whatever, you know, the chefs were asking, they toss out aprons. And I think my water is boiling, so I'm just, yeah, water is boiling. I'm gonna turn it on for low. I don't want to multitask this actually. Just gonna let it simmer at a very low heat because I don't want it to really cool off, and I just want to get this bacon browned up a little more. But I'll add the salt to the pasta. Yeah, I'm not gonna like one-hand this because the pot is very hot, and I'll bring up the phone momentarily to the bacon, but yeah, I'll add the salt to the water. And with pasta, you really want salty water. I think Italians say make your water as salty as the ocean when you're boiling, when you're getting your pasta water ready. Bacon is getting crispy, just a little bit on the edges. I want it a little more crispy. Frankly, personal thing about bacon, I don't like bacon that's excessively crispy. I don't like bacon when it's like a chip, like a tortilla chip. I like it when there's some crisp to it, but there's also some chew. And so at this point, it does really help to be very mindful of temperature, and that's why I cook bacon at a relatively lower heat. And even though it takes a little bit longer, I get a better texture overall. It starts to brown up, but doesn't become, like rock solid. I do like when there's still some chew left in bacon, but I do want the fat to be rendered out, and that's why getting the temperature just right is important. I'll talk about one of the books I brought over. I'll put the games back on the table. So, Philosophy 101 by Paul Kleinman. I don't really know who Paul Kleinman is, but actually if you're in close proximity of like a Barnes & Noble, or you're just browsing Amazon, this is a great book to buy. I'm someone who's very curious about philosophy, but don't know too much about it. And I picked this book up actually a couple years ago. I've been reading it very slowly, just a couple pages at a time here and there. It talks about, philosophy that stemmed out of ancient Greece and kind of goes chronologically and gives you little tidbits, but all the key information about philosophy from ancient times to modern times. I'm now on The Cow in the Field. Super interesting thought experiment. In fact, if some people do, I don't know if people watch the stream. I think Donnie has left. No, he's back. I think he's back. So, Cow in the Field, but I'm assuming a couple more people will see this in the next 2 weeks that Twitch keeps it on. Donnie, I was just saying, I decided to wear my science and cooking lecture series apron that I got at a Harvard lecture, that my mother actually got at a raffle for these aprons. But yeah, I'll show you the bacon. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know if someone else joined, but I'm assuming it's Donnie. So the bacon is getting crispy. I've added salt to my pasta water. I'm not gonna lift that up. Well, actually, I'll lift this up. I'm not multitasking now, but I will. I've kept it at a slow simmer just so it stays hot while I get the bacon a little more browned. Bacon needs, and I was saying, I don't like bacon that's overly crispy. I like it to still have some chew, but definitely be browned and caramelized. So at this point, a couple more stirs, maybe, well, frequent stirs, but a minute or two tops. I am gonna multitask and add the pasta to the water. I've added salt, so I think I can do this all with one hand. I have to be careful, it's hot. So I'm gonna turn up the heat. You want a very heavy boil with pasta. And I'm gonna gently put this in. Perfect. I have a couple more pieces here. Stir the bacon a little bit. And I'll get tongs for the pasta. Here's some utensils that I keep. This is a really nice electronic thermometer, by the way. I think I will do more cooking streams. Hopefully more people view these. I've also been dabbling with the thought of doing a YouTube channel for cooking. And before I forget, I'm gonna set a timer for like 9 minutes. And I'm gonna finish up a couple, actually 8. Because I'll do a couple minutes more in the pan with the bacon and the